If you disappeared tomorrow, how many people in your phone contacts would really notice? 5? 3? Maybe 1? Or perhaps none at all. Right now, as you stare at this screen, have you realized a truth? You have dozens of numbers in your phone, hundreds of friends are on social media, but no one you can truly call. Those moments in the dark, staring at the ceiling, when you wonder, is there even one person in the world who truly cares about me? Right now, in this very moment, you feel that familiar pressure in a corner of your heart. Because you're not alone, but at the same time, you've never been more alone. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you do? You reach for your phone. You unlock the screen. You check for notifications. Work messages, spam emails, maybe a social media alert. But none of them are for you. None of them say, "How are you? I've been thinking about you." Just noise. Just digital clutter. And you drift through that clutter like an invisible ghost. You make coffee. Alone. The silence is so thick that the coffee machines hum grate on your ears. You look out the window. People pass by. Some are laughing, some are talking. You watch them. And that old, all too familiar feeling creeps in again. Why am I outside this world? Why does everyone else seem to belong somewhere, but not me? You head to work. In the office, you say good morning to your colleagues. They say it back. You make small talk. The weather. Coffee. Yesterday's meeting. But none of it is real. None of it goes beneath the surface. You're like an actor, playing your part. That normal person role. That social person role. But you're wearing a mask. And that mask has been on your face for so long that you don't even know where it ends and your face begins. At lunch break, you run into others in the kitchen. They're in groups. Laughing, making plans. Should we hit that new restaurant Friday night? One says. They're all excited. You grab your sandwich and head back to your desk. No one invites you. And you're not expecting it anyway. Because you know. You're not in that circle. You're not in any circle. When you get home in the evening, you turn on the TV. You watch shows. The characters talk to each other, argue, trust, betray, reconcile. And you watch them. Sometimes you feel closer to those characters than to real people. Because at least they don't disappoint you. They're under your control. You can pause them with one button. Restart them with another. When you climb into bed at night, you lie there in the dark. And that voice starts up. The voice inside. Is there something wrong with me? Why doesn't anyone want to get close? Why am I always on the outside? That voice is so familiar now, it's like a friend. A dark, bitter friend. But here's the truth, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with your brain. In the late 1950s, psychologist Harry Harlow conducted an experiment with monkeys. He separated baby monkeys from their mothers and left them with two surrogate mothers, one made of wire mesh that provided milk, the other made of soft cloth but gave no milk. The scientific community expected the babies to choose the wire mother for the milk. At the time, the prevailing belief was that attachment stemmed primarily from the need for nourishment. But what happened? The baby monkeys chose the cloth mother. They only went to the wire one when hungry, drank the milk, and immediately returned to the cloth mother. When scared or stressed, they always clung to the cloth one. Because what they needed wasn't food. It was touch. Warmth. Connection. Then Harlow did something else. He left some baby monkeys with no mother at all. They grew up in complete isolation. What happened inside them? Those monkeys never became normal. As adults, they couldn't interact with others. They withdrew into corners, rocking themselves, self-harming. They couldn't mate. They couldn't mother. And worst of all, the other monkeys rejected them. Because they seemed different. Their movements, their gaze, their body language, everything was wrong. They didn't know the social codes. What are you thinking right now? But I'm human, not a monkey. You're right. Still, your brain? Your brain isn't so different from that baby monkey's. Neurology tells us this: the human brain is evolutionarily designed for connection. The hippocampus, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, all optimized for you to be part of a social network. Thousands of years ago, on the African savannas, if you were alone, you died. Lions found you. Hunger found you. Disease found you. But in a tribe? Your survival odds skyrocketed. So your brain is programmed, loneliness equals danger. That's why, right now, when you're lonely, your brain sounds the alarm. As if you're lost on the savannah. As if a lion is watching you. Cortisol surges. Stress hormones rise. Heart rate quickens. Sleep patterns disrupt. Immune system weakens. And worst of all, your social skills deteriorate. Yes, it's true. Loneliness erodes social skills. This paradox makes the person who feels more isolated fear social interaction even more. The more fear grows, the more you withdraw. The more you withdraw, the lonelier you become. A vicious cycle. You're trapped in the middle of it. And you don't even realize it. Now let me take you to a scene. You're sitting in a cafe. Reading a book. Or pretending to. In reality, you're not even turning the pages. Your eyes glide over the lines but absorb nothing. Because your attention is elsewhere. There's a group of people inside. 5 or 6. They're laughing and debating. Not angrily, but with excitement, cutting each other off. No, listen, that was the best choice. They're insisting. And everyone is listening. Everyone cares. It's all right there. You glance at them sideways. And something stirs inside you. A mix. Admiration. Longing. Jealousy. Pain. I wish I were at that table, you think. But right after, another voice chimes in, but if I were there, what would I even say? I don't even understand what they're talking about. I'd definitely say something stupid and embarrass myself. They'd mock me. And there, in that cafe, all alone, you're fighting a war. A war against yourself. One side says, go, join them, introduce yourself. The other says, run, get out of here, go home, to your safe place. Which voice wins, you know? Always the same one. Fear. Have you ever felt it? Not just fear. Social fear. That special, burning fear. Your heart starts pounding. Your palms start sweating. Your mouth goes dry. And your brain gives you a devilish gift, catastrophe scenarios. What if I join them? They'll look at me. Silence will fall. They'll judge me. Who is this, they'll think. Then they'll politely reject me. Oh, actually, this is a private conversation. And I'll be there, humiliated, crushed, retreating. And that scene, that embarrassment, will replay in my head for weeks. That's it. That's the mechanism. Social anxiety. Social anxiety isn't a disorder, it's in everyone. But in some people, like you, it's overactive. The amygdala, your brain's fear center, keeps sounding the alarm. Danger. Social danger. Risk of rejection. And the prefrontal cortex, your logic center, can't fight back. Because the amygdala is faster. More primitive. Stronger. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like everyone was staring at you? Like you're on a spotlight? Like everyone is watching, judging? Share in the comments. Because this feeling isn't just yours. Millions feel it. But no one talks about it. Because even mentioning it feels like a social risk. I'll look weak, I'll look weird, people will pull away, you think. But here's the truth, everyone is busy. with their own thoughts, their own anxieties, their own drama movies. When you enter the room, yes, maybe they glance at you for a second. But then? They return to their own worlds. Because you're not the center of their story. They are the center of theirs. But your brain won't accept that. Because your brain sees you at the center. Because for you, you are everything. Now let's go to another scene. A darker one. You get an invitation. A party. A gathering. An event. And two feelings clash inside you. One side is excited. Maybe this time it'll be different. Maybe I'll meet new people. Maybe I'll make a connection. The other side is terrified. But what if I end up standing in the corner again? What if no one talks to me? What if I'm holding a drink alone, pretending to check my phone because I can't think of anything else to do? Time passes. The invitation time arrives. And the fear inside you grows. It builds. It builds. Until it becomes unbearable. You pick up your phone. So sorry, I can't make it tonight, you write. Something came up. A lie? But you send the message. And then? Relief. Massive relief. Like a huge weight lifted from your shoulders. Yes, I made the right choice. It wouldn't have been fun anyway. I'd have been miserable if I'd gone. But the next day, you see the photos on social media. Smiling faces. Hugs. That voice inside starts again, I should have gone. Maybe it would have been fun. Maybe I could have been in those pictures too. And that's the biggest trap for people without friends, avoidance. Avoidance is a defense mechanism. In psychology, we call it avoidance coping. Instead of facing your fear, you escape the situations that trigger it. In the short term, it works. It provides instant relief. But in the long term, it destroys you. Because every time you escape, the fear grows stronger. Your brain learns that social situations are dangerous. Avoidance means safety. Next time, the fear is even bigger. You start worrying before an invitation even arrives. You think about what you'll do if someone invites you. And eventually, the invitations stop coming. Because people learn, they always say no. Better not to invite them anymore. And you? You see it as confirmation. See? Nobody wants me anyway. But in reality, you're the one rejecting. You're closing the doors. You're building the walls. Your mind is a prison, and you are both the prisoner and the guard. Let me explain. In a prison, the prisoner wants to get out. Wants freedom. But the guard keeps them inside. The outside is dangerous, he says. You can't cope out there. You're safe in here. In your mind, one part, the prisoner, wants to get out. Wants connection. Wants friendship. But the other part, the guard, keeps you locked in. The outside is dangerous, it says. People hurt. Rejection hurts. You're safer here, alone. And you spend years in that prison. The walls are high. The windows are narrow. You can see the outside, but you can't touch it. You long for it, but you can't reach it. Now let me take you on a journey through history. 1978, California. A cult leader named Jim Jones convinced more than 900 followers to commit mass suicide. The Jonestown Massacre. How did he do it? How did he persuade so many people to drink the poisoned drink? Answer: isolation. Jim Jones separated his followers from their families, friends, and society. He took them to a camp in the middle of Guyana. There, their only friend was Jones. Their only family was the cult. Their only support system was that group. And then Jones told them, the world is attacking us. They want to destroy us. But we will resist together. We are strong together. And the people trusted him. Because they had no one else. no other place. Those people were so lonely and isolated that they chose the poison over returning to the world. Now the question for you, why am I giving such an extreme example? Because isolation is powerful. Isolation is dangerous. Isolation makes you vulnerable to manipulation. Whether it's a cult leader, a toxic relationship, or your own mind, isolation controls you. You're thinking now, but I didn't join a cult. I'm not being manipulated. Really? Look at social media. Algorithms isolate you. They put you in a bubble. They show you only ideas like yours, only people like you. And inside that bubble, you think the world is like that. But it's not. The world is much wider, much more complex, much more beautiful. But you can't see it. Because you're alone. And loneliness narrows your vision. In 2018, the health company Senior published a study. They surveyed over 20,000 adults in America. They asked questions: do you feel lonely? Do you have meaningful relationships? Do you feel you belong to a community? The results were shocking. 46% of Americans said they sometimes or always feel lonely. 47% felt left out. And the worst part? The loneliest group was young people, ages 18 to 22. The generation that should be the most connected. Social media, messaging, video calls, all at their fingertips. Yet lonely. Why? Because digital connection doesn't replace real connection. You can send a heart to someone on Instagram. But that heart doesn't substitute for real bonding. You can send an emoji. But that emoji isn't an alternative to a real "how are you?" The digital world is an illusion. You have friends there. But they're not real. They're pixels. They're data. They don't call you at 3 a.m. saying, "What happened? Are you okay?" And the most ironic thing? You're watching other people's lives on social media. Smiling photos. Group shots. Posts captioned "great times." And you think everyone's life is perfect. Everyone's happy. Only I'm unhappy. Only I'm alone. But here's the truth, those photos are lies. Everyone wears a mask. Everyone shows their best version. No one posts, "Today I went 14 hours without talking to anyone and feel worthless." No one says, "Honestly, my life is a mess and I have no friends." Social media is a stage. And everyone is performing. But you? You're the audience. And being the audience makes you feel even lonelier. Because you're sitting there with your real version. Maskless. Naked. Vulnerable. And comparing yourself to everyone else's masks. In psychology, we call this social comparison. And social media supercharges it. Before, you only compared yourself to your neighbor. But now? Now you compare yourself to the whole world. Models, millionaires, influencers. And you keep losing. Because that game is rigged. They know nothing about filters, angles, and edits. Photoshopped lives. But you? You're stuck with the real, raw, unedited stuff. And this isolates you even more. Because you think, there's something wrong with me. Everyone's successful, I'm not. Everyone's happy, I'm not. Everyone has friends, I don't. Wrong. Mistake. Illusion. Everyone is struggling. Everyone feels lonely. Everyone wakes up at 3 a.m. and stares at the ceiling. But no one shows it. Because showing it looks like weakness. And no one wants to look weak. Now let me take you back to that cafe. But this time, from a different perspective. This time, from inside one of those group tables. Sarah is sitting there. Laughing. Talking with her friends. From the outside, Sarah looks happy. Connected. Loved. But if you could step inside Sarah's mind, what would you see? Sarah is thinking, do these people really like me? Or are they just being polite? If I lost my job today, if I got caught in a scandal, would they still be here? Or would they disappear? Next to Sarah is Michael. Michael is telling a story. Everyone's laughing. But inside Michael? He's thinking, do I always have to be funny? Do they only keep me around for entertainment? If one day I'm sad, if one day I want to talk seriously, will they still listen? And at the other end of the table, Emma. Emma is quiet. Listening. Smiling. But inside Emma, there's a storm. Emma is thinking, do they even remember I'm here? If I got up and left right now, would they notice? I'm the least important person in this group. I'm just filler. Here's the truth, everyone at that table feels lonely, just like you. But no one says it. In psychology, there's a concept, the spotlight effect. You think everyone is watching you. But in reality, everyone is under their own spotlight. Everyone is wrestling with their own fears, their own anxieties, their own loneliness. You're sitting in that cafe thinking, do they think I'm weird? Do they see me as a lonely person? But them? They're not even thinking about you. They're busy with their own stuff. And that's both good and bad news. Bad news, you're not that important. The world doesn't revolve around you. People don't care about you that much. Good news, you're not important at all. The world doesn't spin around you. People don't care about your quirks, your mistakes, or your failures. So? You're free. Free because no one is paying that much attention. Free because no one is judging that harshly. Free because your fears are, mostly, in your own mind. But you don't see this freedom. Because fear has blinded your eyes. Now I ask, which character in this story are you? The one sitting in the corner, watching? Or the one at the table, smiling but lonely inside? Or the one who never steps onto the stage, staying home? Share in the comments. Because seeing the truth is the first step to change. But before change, we need to go deeper. Because without fully understanding the problem, we can't find the solution. So far, we've touched the surface. We've seen the symptoms. But the root? The root is much deeper. Go back to your childhood. School. Elementary, middle, high school. Remember? Those hallways? Those recesses? Those cafeterias? In school, the social hierarchy is crystal clear. There are popular kids. Kids in the middle. And at the bottom, the weird kids. The loser kids. Where were you? Maybe in the middle. Invisible. Not popular, not outcast. You just didn't exist. You walked the halls and no one knew your name. Or maybe you were outcast. The other kids laughed at you. Mocked you. Why do you dress like that? Why do you talk like that? Why do you act like that? And you couldn't answer. Because you didn't know. You were just being you. But being you wasn't enough. At recess, groups formed. The ones playing sports. The ones talking. The ones laughing. Where were you? Maybe in the library. Maybe in the bathroom. Maybe in the farthest corner of the schoolyard, sitting under a tree. Alone. But pretending you chose to be alone. Because there was one thing easier than being rejected, pretending you weren't rejected. I like being alone, you told yourself. I don't like people. They are shallow. They are stupid. I'm better than them. And that defense mechanism protected you. In the short term. But in the long term? It destroyed you. Because that defense turned into a wall. And that wall kept people out. But it also trapped you inside. As an adult, you're still behind that wall. But you're no longer a child. The school is gone. Those cruel kids are gone. But the wall? The wall is still there. Attachment theory. A psychiatrist named John Bowlby developed this theory in the 1950s. The idea is simple: the relationship you form with your parents in childhood becomes the foundation for the relationships you form with others as an adult. If your parents were warm, supportive, consistent, you develop secure attachment. As an adult, you trust people. You want closeness. You're not overly afraid of rejection. Because you know, even if I'm rejected, the world doesn't end. There are other people. Other chances. But if your parents were cold, critical, inconsistent, you develop insecure attachment. And insecure attachment has different types. Anxious attachment: you become overly dependent on people. You constantly seek approval. You worry: do they love me? Will they leave me? You're desperate in relationships. And that desperation pushes people away. Avoidant attachment: you fear getting close to people. I don't need them. I can manage alone, you say. You keep emotional distance. And that distance prevents people from reaching you. Which one are you? Maybe avoidant. You might have built walls. You might think, I don't need anyone. Those walls collapse in the dark of night. And the truth is, you do need people. Everyone does. Because humans are social animals. Millions of years of evolution programmed us to live together, hunt together, grow together. You can't delete that program. You can't kill that need. You can only ignore it. Suppress it. But it's always there. And everything you suppress eventually explodes. 2019, San Diego. Dr. Julianne Holt-Lunstad from Brigham Young University published a study. She analyzed 148 different studies. Over 300,000 participants. The question: does social isolation affect health? Answer: yes. And much more than you might think. Loneliness increases the risk of death by 50%. More dangerous than smoking 15 cigarettes a day. More dangerous than obesity. More dangerous than a sedentary lifestyle. Why? Because loneliness kills the brain. Kills the heart. Kills the immune system. When you're lonely, cortisol, the stress hormone, stays chronically elevated. And what does chronic cortisol do? It shrinks the hippocampus, the memory center. It enlarges the amygdala, the fear center. So your memory weakens. Your fear grows. When isolated, you become more inflamed. Your immune system becomes hyperactive. But not against real threats. Against yourself. That's why autoimmune diseases develop. You get chronic pain. When lonely, sleep quality drops. Because evolutionarily, sleeping alone is dangerous. A predator might come. An enemy might come. So your brain doesn't let you sleep fully. It keeps you semi-awake. And you wake up exhausted. Every day. So loneliness is killing you slowly. And you don't even realize it. Now another scene. An office. A meeting room. Team meeting. The boss says, we'll do this project together. Teamwork matters. Share your ideas. You're sitting there. You have an idea. A good one. But you don't share it. Why? Because you're thinking, what if it sounds stupid? What if everyone looks at me and thinks, what is this guy saying? What if they criticize me? And the idea stays in your mind. Silently. Dead. The meeting ends. Everyone leaves. The boss listens to two people. You slip out quietly. No one even notices you. At the office, lunchtime. People go out in groups. Let's hit the burger place, they say. You want to go. But you don't wait to be invited. Because you know, the invitation won't come. You're still the outsider kid. Even at 20, 30, 40 years old. So you eat alone at your desk. Staring at your phone. Checking messages. But there are no messages. Just work emails. Just spam. And when you get home in the evening, you tell yourself, today sucked. I hate this job. I hate these people. But the truth is, you don't love yourself. You don't allow yourself. You keep yourself outside the circle. And the most painful thing? No one is keeping you out. You're keeping yourself out. Here's the paradox: you want friends, but you won't take the risk for friendship. Do you know how friendship forms? There are 4 stages. 1. Encounter: 2 strangers meet somewhere. Office, cafe, gym, class. Eye contact happens. Maybe a smile. Maybe a hello. 2. Surface talk: nice weather. This cafe's coffee is great. Are you new to this class too? Small talk. Trivial but necessary. This is the stage where safety is tested. Is this person dangerous? Trustworthy. 3. Mutual sharing, going a bit deeper. I do this job. I'm from here. I like this. And the other person shares too. Reciprocity begins. Balance is sought. For vulnerability, real friendship starts here. Masks drop. Honestly, I'm struggling. I had a really bad experience recently. Sometimes I feel so lonely. And the other person opens up. Me too. I feel that way too. You're not alone. Which stage are you stuck at? Maybe stage 1. You can't even make eye contact. Because you're afraid. If I look at them, what will they think? If I smile, they might misunderstand. Maybe stage 2. You can do surface talk. But you can't go deeper. Because you think, if I talk about myself, they'll find me boring. If I ask questions, I'll annoy them. Or maybe stage 3. You can get close to a certain level. But you can't show vulnerability. Because you think, if I show weakness, they'll judge me. They'll leave me. And that's why you always stay on the surface. Always wear your mask. Always try to look strong. But real connection? Real friendship? It starts in vulnerability. Brené Brown, a researcher, spent years studying vulnerability. And what she found was shocking: the happiest, most connected, most loved people are the vulnerable ones. Those who dare to show their weaknesses. Those who can say, I'm not perfect, and that's okay. Because vulnerability leads to trust. When you take off the mask, the other person does too. Not just you, the other person opens up. That's when real connection emerges. But you? You fear vulnerability. Because in the past, when you were vulnerable, you got hurt. Maybe someone shared your secret. Maybe someone mocked you. Maybe someone abandoned you. And that pain was so deep that you made a decision: I'll never be vulnerable again. I'll never open up again. And that decision protected you. But it also destroyed you. Because that decision pushed you away from love, connection, friendship. Because friendship requires risk. Love requires risk. Connection requires risk. No risk, no reward. No willingness to face pain, no happiness. No acceptance of rejection, no acceptance. Now let's do an experiment. Imagine you're sitting in a cafe right now. Someone sits next to you. A stranger. And that person turns to you and says, sorry, but I have to ask. You look so peaceful here. How do you do it? The question surprises you. Because you're not happy. But that's how they see you. Right now, you have a choice. Option 1, give a surface answer. Oh, thanks. Just reading a book. Smile and go back to your book. Close the door. Stay safe. Option 2, be honest. Honestly, I don't feel peaceful. I just look like it. A lot is going on inside. And see what happens. Maybe they say, me too. I feel that way sometimes. Which option do you choose? Most people choose option 1. Because it's safe. Because it's easy. Because there's no risk. But that option leaves you alone. Option 2? Option 2 is scary. Because it's unknown. Maybe they judge you. Maybe they find you weird. But maybe you make a connection. Maybe a friendship begins. Maybe life changes. And that's where change starts. With small risks. Small openings. Small vulnerabilities. Now let's move to action. Because theory is nice. But if it doesn't turn into practice, it's just words. And you can't connect with words. You connect with actions. Technique 1, the 3-second rule. What's the biggest enemy of social anxiety? The more you think, the more your fear grows. What if this happens? Endless scenarios. Overthinking. Solution? Don't think. Just do. Within 3 seconds. Example, you're in a setting. Someone says something interesting. You want to speak. But you start thinking, what very stupid. Right then, count 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and speak. Don't give your brain time to think. At first, it'll feel weird. You might stutter. Your sentence might not land perfectly. But that's okay. Because perfection isn't the goal. Action is. And guess what? Most of the time, people don't care. Most of the time, they're feeling the same anxiety. Most of the time, your speaking makes it easier for them to speak. Technique 2, micro-interactions. Friendship isn't built with big steps. It's built with small ones. And the smallest step? Eye contact and a smile. Try it tomorrow. While walking on the street, make eye contact with someone. And smile. Just do that. Don't wait for them to smile first. You start. At first, you'll feel uncomfortable. I look weird. I look like a creep. But you don't. You just look human. And people like humanity. Do this for a week. Every day, make eye contact and smile with 5 people. But note, not a forced smile. A real smile. One that comes from your eyes. Then, level up. Eye contact, smile, and say a hello. Just hello. Don't expect a reply. Just say it and move on. This is practice. You're training your social muscle. Technique 3, find common ground. How do people connect? Through commonality. Shared interests, shared experiences, shared struggles. What are your interests? Reading books, walking, playing video games, listening to music, taking photos. Whatever it is, find that community. But I don't like communities. I know. But this is about expanding your comfort zone. And communities are safe starting points. Because everyone is there for the same reason. Everyone has a shared topic. So the first step is easier. Online communities count too. A forum, a Discord server, a social media group. Start writing there. Share your opinion. Ask questions. Comment on others' posts. Slowly, you'll start building digital connections. And maybe, one day, those connections will become physical. Technique 4, the will you listen to me? Test. This one is different. It's for deepening existing relationships. There are people in your life. Maybe not close. Maybe just acquaintances. But they have the potential to become friends. How? Ask them for something. Something small. I'm moving this weekend, can you help? I'm working on a project, can I get your opinion? I'm feeling down, want to grab coffee. Why does this work? The Benjamin Franklin effect. Franklin once wanted to win over an enemy. How? He asked for a favor. Can I borrow that book? The man agreed. And after? He started treating Franklin more warmly. Because people start valuing those they help. So when you ask someone for help, you show you value them. Your opinion matters. I need you. And that builds a bond. But careful, start with small requests. Big ones scare people. Start with it, can you do something for me, or not, would you die for me? Technique 5, empathy sentences. What do people want? To be understood. In most conversations, people do this, wait for their turn. They are not listening. They're just planning what to say. You do different. Really listen. Then show empathy. That must be really hard. I understand. I've been through something similar. If I were in your shoes, I'd feel the same. These sentences are magic. Because they tell the other person you're not alone. I'm here. I see you. And people want to be seen. Heard. Validated. When you provide that, they come closer. Because you become a safe harbor for them. Technique 6, the art of timing. Friendship doesn't happen at once. It takes time. Repetition. Consistency. One study found that for two strangers to become friends, they need about 50 hours together. Close friends? 200 hours. 200 hours. Think about it. If you meet 2 hours a week, that's 100 weeks. About 2 years. But here's the trick, those hours must be quality hours. Watching TV doesn't count. Sitting side by side on phones doesn't count. Real conversations. Real sharing. Real experiences. So no rush. Friendship is built slowly. And you must be patient. Because most people give up too soon. We talked for a week but didn't become close friends. Guess it won't happen. No. It just means not enough time has passed yet. Technique 7, getting used to rejection. You won't love this one. It's uncomfortable. But it's the most effective. Friendship requires rejection. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will want to be your friend. Not everyone will accept your invitation. And that's normal. That's human nature. But you fear rejection. So you never try. You never take risks. Solution? Get used to rejection. A man named Zhou Jiang did an experiment, 100 days of rejection. Every day, he intentionally asked for something with a risk of rejection. Can I plant flowers in your yard? Can I order a burger at a pizza place? Can I give a talk in a stranger's house? Most times he was rejected. But sometimes? Sometimes yes. And most importantly, rejection didn't kill him. Rejection wasn't that bad. It was just someone saying no. And life went on. Now you try. Take small risks. Ask someone for coffee. If they say no, no problem. Ask the next person. Because rejection isn't about you. It's about them. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they have other plans. Maybe they have social anxiety too and say no because they're scared. Rejection isn't personal. Rejection is just an answer. But let's be realistic now. The techniques are nice. But that voice inside, that dark voice, is still there. This won't work for me. I'm different. I'm too damaged. It's too late. Do you hear that voice? That voice has a name, learned helplessness. Psychologist Martin Seligman conducted an experiment with dogs in the 1960s. He put dogs in a cage and gave them electric shocks. But if they crossed to the other side, the shock stopped. The dogs learned this and jumped to the other side as soon as the shock came. Then Seligman changed the experiment. For some dogs, he gave shocks, but this time, there was no escape. No matter what they did, the shock continued. And after a while, the dogs gave up. They stopped trying to escape. They just lay down and accepted the shock. Here's the darkest part. Then Seligman put those dogs back in the original cage. The one where escape was possible. But the dogs didn't escape. When the shock came, they just lay there. Because they had learned, escaping doesn't work. I'm helpless. You're like that dog. You tried to escape before. You tried to connect. But you got hurt. You got rejected. And a voice inside says, escaping doesn't work. I'm helpless. But here's the truth, you're not in that cage. The shock is gone. That situation is in the past. Now, the door is open. You can escape. But you're not. Because you learned something, helplessness. And that learned helplessness paralyzes you. Keeps you immobile. Keeps you in loneliness. But here's the hope, learned helplessness can be changed. Because if something can be learned, it can be unlearned. Relearned. How? With small wins. In psychology, we call this mastery experience. When you succeed at something, your brain learns, I can do it. I'm capable. I'm in control. And each small win makes the next one easier. Momentum builds. A positive spiral. Right now, you're in a negative spiral. Loneliness leads to avoidance, which leads to more loneliness. But this spiral can be reversed. Action small win confidence more action. The first step is the hardest. Because it's taken without belief. Maybe it won't work. But I have to try. The second step is easier. Because you learned something in the first. The third is even easier. And then, one day, you realize you're no longer that lonely person. You're no longer that fearful person. You've changed. But change doesn't happen in an instant. Change takes days, weeks, months. Now let me tell you a story. A true story. The name is changed, but the events are real. David, 34 years old. Software engineer. Good job. Good home. But no friends. No real friends. David's weekends go like this. Saturday morning he wakes up. Makes coffee. Opens his computer. Plays video games. Lunch, frozen pizza. Afternoon, more games. Evening, Netflix. Midnight, sleep. Sunday, repeat. If you ask David, are you happy? He says, what does happy even mean? I'm getting by. But one Friday night, something happens. David is in the hospital. Appendicitis surgery. Emergency. And after the operation, the doctor asks, who's your emergency contact? Who should we call? David freezes. His mom exists, but she lives in another state. Dad is dead. No siblings. Friends? Who? David looks at the doctor and says, no one. Don't call anyone. That moment, in the hospital room, alone, David realizes something, I'm completely alone. If I die tomorrow, who comes to my funeral? If I'm bedridden for a month, who brings me food? If I lose my mind, who notices? And that night, in the dark, David cries. For the first time in years. Because he sees the truth. And the truth hurts. But those tears are a wake-up call. Those tears are a beginning. David, after leaving the hospital, makes a decision, I have to change. Because I can't live like this. First step? He goes to therapy. Finds a psychologist. And tells him everything. His childhood. His loneliness. His fears. His masks. The therapist asks questions. When did you start feeling lonely? What are your beliefs about friendship? What's holding you back? And as David answers, he discovers something. The problem isn't outside. The problem is inside. The problem isn't with people. The problem is with himself. With the story he tells himself. David's story goes, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not an interesting person. People won't like me. They'll judge me. They'll reject me. So I should stay away from them. The therapist says, is this story true? Or is it just a belief? David thinks. And then says, I don't know. Maybe just a belief. Then, says the therapist, how about writing a new story? David starts writing a new story. Slowly. With techniques. With actions. First week, the 3-second rule. David is in a meeting at the office. Someone says something. An idea pops into David's head. Normally he'd stay silent. But this time, 1, 2, 3, he speaks. I think we could also do it this way, his heart pounds. His palms sweat. But he speaks. And what happens? People listen. Someone says, good idea. The boss nods. The meeting goes on. And David? David feels a small victory. I spoke. And the world didn't end. Second week, micro interactions. Every morning on the way to the office, David smiles at the security guard. Good morning. The guard smiles back. Good morning. A tiny moment. But a connection. David also makes eye contact with the barista at the cafe. The coffee's great, thanks. The barista says, thank you, have a good day. A small interaction. But David feels a little less invisible. Third week, common ground. David finds a meet-up group. A hiking group. Saturday mornings, a bunch of people meet in a park and walk together. David goes the first time. He's scared. But he goes. There are 8 or 9 people in the group. Everyone introduces themselves. David says, I'm David. New member. People say hello. The walk begins. For the first 10 minutes, David is quiet. Just walking. Listening. But then someone turns to him, what do you do? David answers, software engineer. Oh, really? I'm in tech too. And a conversation starts. The walk ends. David goes home. And for the first time in a long while, he feels something, hope. Fourth week, David goes back to the hiking group. This time, a few faces are familiar. Hey, David, you came back, they say. And David feels like he belongs somewhere. A small sense of belonging. But a start. Fifth week, David goes for coffee with the guy from tech. His name is Michael. Just the two of them. After the hike, Michael had said, want to grab coffee? Panic inside David. But 1, 2, 3, yeah, sure. At the cafe, Michael and David talk. About work. About life. And then Michael shares, honestly, I felt really lonely for a long time. I just moved to this city and didn't know anyone. This hiking group was a lifesaver for me. David is shocked. You? Lonely? But you seem so social. Michael laughs. Appearances deceive. There's always a fear inside. Do these people like me? Or are they just being polite? But over time, the fear faded. Because I really got to know them. And they got to know me. David realizes in that moment, everyone struggles. Everyone feels lonely. It's not just me. 6th, 7th, 8th weeks, David keeps the routine. Every Saturday, hiking group. Occasional coffees. Conversations. Slowly, friendships form within the group. One day David notices there are messages on his phone. Real messages. Michael writes, a few of us are getting together tonight for board games. Want to come? David says yes. That evening, David goes to a house. Inside, 5 to 6 people. Food. Games. Laughter. And David is there, in the group, feeling like a part. Still not fully relaxed. Still a bit tense. But there. Included. And on the way home that night, David smiles. Maybe I'm changing. Maybe this is possible. 3 months later, David's life looks different. Still the same job. Still the same house. But no longer alone. Saturday mornings, hiking group. Some evenings, hanging out with Michael and others. Going to movies. Bowling. Just chilling. And those just chilling moments, they're a new experience for David. No goal. No purpose. Just being together. David is changing at work too. He talks more. Shares more. Goes to lunch with colleagues. Makes small talk. And sometimes that small talk turns into deeper conversations. One day, a colleague says to David, "You've changed. You seem more, I don't know, more present. More approachable." Hearing that warms David inside. Thanks. I feel that way too. 6 months later, David's birthday. Last year, he ate pizza alone and watched a movie. This year? Michael organizes a party. Surprise party, he says, but David finds out. And that's fine. Because the surprise isn't the point. The point is that people care. On party day, David walks into a house. Inside, 12 to 15 people. From the hiking group. From work. Some he knows well. Some less. But all of them are there. For him. Happy birthday, they shout. There's cake. There are candles. And as David blows them out, he makes a wish, "I hope this feeling never ends." That night, on the way home, David remembers something. 6 months ago, in the hospital room, alone, crying. If I die tomorrow, who comes to my funeral? He now knows the answer. People will come. His friends will be there. Because they exist. He made himself visible. He stepped into the circle. And how did he do it? With techniques? No. With courage. Every day, in small steps, despite his fears, he moved forward. And in the end, he arrived. David's story isn't your story. But it can be. Because David wasn't special. He wasn't super talented. He wasn't charismatic. He was just determined. He just tried. And you? Are you ready to try? I know a voice inside is saying right now, but David was different. He had a job. He had a hiking group. My situation is different. No. Your situation isn't different. Your excuses are different. And excuses protect you. But they also imprison you. Here's the harsh truth, no one is coming to save you. No knight in shining armor. No miraculous change. There's only you. And your choice. You can choose, stay in the same place. Carry the same fears. Live the same loneliness. Be safe. But unhappy. Or you can choose, take risks. Feel fear but move forward anyway. Fail but try again. Slowly expand your comfort zone. And maybe one day, you look back and see, you've changed. Which choice is harder, you know? Staying still. Both are hard. Loneliness is very hard. Change is hard too. But at least one has hope. Now back to neurology. Because your brain can do something amazing, neuroplasticity. The brain can reshape itself. Build new neural pathways. Weaken old, harmful ones. Right now, there's a pathway in your brain, social situation fear avoidance. That pathway is strong. Because it's been used for years. Each use made it stronger. Like a highway. Wide, smooth, easy. But you can open a new pathway, social situation anxiety but action small success less fear. At first, that pathway is hard. A narrow trail. Full of obstacles. Walking it is exhausting. But every time you use that pathway, the trail widens. It gets easier. And the old pathway? When unused, it starts to narrow. Overgrown with weeds. Forgotten. Over time, the new pathway becomes the highway. And the old one is just a memory. But this transition requires effort. And effort means pain. But that pain is temporary. Loneliness is chronic. Here's another study for you. Harvard has a 75-year study. It started in 1938. It followed over 700 people throughout their lives. Every year, they interviewed them, asked questions, monitored their health, analyzed their relationships. And 75 years later, do you know what they found? The strongest predictor of happiness, health, and longevity? Not money. Not fame. Not success. Relationships. Close, warm, supportive relationships. Those people who had strong friendships at age 50 were healthier at 80. Happier. Less sick. Lived longer. Those who were lonely at 50 were sicker at 80. Unhappier. Died earlier. So friendship isn't just a nice thing. Friendship is a matter of life or death. Literally. And what are you doing now? You're choosing loneliness. Days pass. Weeks pass. Months pass. And with each passing day, you lose one more day. One more day without potential connections. One more day living your life alone. Finally, you'll look back and ask, where did the time go? Where did my life go? And you'll get a painful answer. It went in loneliness. It escaped in fear. It got lost inside me. Here's your challenge now. Tomorrow, do one thing. Something small. Something scary. Something social. Offer a colleague coffee. Message an old acquaintance. Join a meetup group. Smile at a stranger and say a hello. Just one thing. Just one step. And the outcome doesn't matter. The action does. When you take action, you win. Whether accepted or rejected. Because you overcame your fear. You moved. You defied the guard inside you. And the next day? Do one more thing. And the next day. And the next. 1 week later, look back. Maybe you took 7 small steps. Maybe 3 succeeded. 4 didn't. But 7 steps are better than 0. 7 steps are direction. 7 steps are momentum. 1 month later, look back. 30 steps. Maybe 15 succeeded. Maybe you started a conversation. Maybe you got a phone number. Maybe you had coffee. Maybe you just felt comfortable in a meeting. 3 months later, look back. 90 steps. And maybe you'll notice your life looks a bit different. Maybe you have a friend. Maybe an acquaintance. Maybe just hope. And hope is the beginning of everything. Now I'll tell you the truth. The painful truth. The truth you don't want to hear. Some people will never change. Some watching this video, nice ideas. But not for me. And they'll do nothing. And in 5 or 10 years, they'll still be in the same place. Still lonely. Always unhappy. The excuses continue. And some people will change. Some will watch this video and think, this is hard. But I have to try. And they'll take 1 step. Then another. Then another. And slowly, their lives will transform. Which one will you be? No one can make this decision for you. Not your therapist. Not your family. Not me. Only you can. And that decision must be made now. Because tomorrow never comes. Someday never comes. Only now exists. Let me show you a final scene. 10 years from now. 2 versions. 2 parallel universes. Universe 1, you're still alone. Still in the same house. Still in the same routine. You wake up in the morning. Coffee. Work. Home. Screen. Sleep. Repeat. Weekends, TV. Social media. Watching other people's lives. Your phone still has dozens of numbers. But still no one to call. In a crisis, you're still alone. On birthdays, still alone. On holidays, still alone. And you're getting older. Grey hair. Lines on your face. But those lines aren't from laughing. Because you laugh so little. Those lines are from worry. Loneliness. The weight of life. One day, you look in the mirror. And you see empty eyes. A tired soul. And you ask, was this life? Just this? Universe 2, you changed. You remember that day. That video. That decision. That first step. Scary but necessary. The first year was pretty hard. A lot of rejection. A lot of failure. But some successes too. Some small connections. Small friendships. The second year was easier. Because it became routine. Every week, you did something social. Group activities. Coffees. Chats. And slowly, those people turned from acquaintances into friends. The third year was a turning point. You had a crisis. A difficulty. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you got sick. Maybe there was a loss in your family. But this time, you weren't alone. Your friends were there. They supported you. Listened. Helped. And in that moment, you realized, I'm no longer that lonely person. Now, 10 years later, your life is different. There are still challenges. Still bad days. But you're not alone. Saturday nights, you do something with friends. Maybe go out to eat. Maybe watch a movie at home. Maybe play a game. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is who you do it with. Your phone has messages. Real messages. How are you? We haven't caught up in a while. Are you free this weekend? And you reply. Because you're now inside that circle. When you look in the mirror, you see a different person. There's light in your eyes. Peace on your face. Because you're living. Not just existing. 2 universes. 2 lives. 2 outcomes. Which one will be yours? Now I'll tell you one last thing. Maybe you won't change today. Maybe not tomorrow either. Maybe this video made you think but didn't make you act. And that's okay. Because the seed is planted. Awareness has begun. And one day, maybe a week later, maybe a month later, something will happen. Something will trigger you. A moment. A feeling. A realization. And in that moment, you'll remember this video. You'll remember David. You'll remember those techniques. You'll remember those 2 universes. And maybe, in that moment, you'll decide. Enough. I want to change. And if that moment comes, be ready. Because change isn't easy. Change is terrifying. Change is painful. But change is the only hope. And without hope, loneliness isn't just a punishment. It's a life sentence. Have you ever wondered? Have you ever thought about why loneliness hurts so much? It's not a physical thing. It's intangible. Invisible. Yet it breaks your heart. Melts your soul. Because loneliness is existential pain. You are a social being. You were created for connection. And without connection, you're incomplete. Like a missing puzzle piece. Like a forgotten note in a song. There, but not whole. And the human mind is an amazing thing. You can normalize pain. This is my life. This is my fate. This can't change. And you accept the pain. But that acceptance isn't peace. That acceptance is surrender. And you haven't surrendered, that's why you're here. You're watching this video. You're reading these words. Because there's still a spark inside you. Still hope. Still a maybe. Don't lose that maybe. That maybe is precious. That maybe is everything. Finally, what I have to say. What did you feel? What did you think? Which part touched you? And most importantly, what will you do tomorrow? Share in the comments. Because this isn't just a video. It's a mirror. While watching it, you see yourself. Your loneliness. Your fears. Your potential. And now, you're standing in front of the mirror. And you have to make a choice. You can go back. To your old life. Safe, familiar, but lonely. Or you can go forward. Into the unknown. The scary. But maybe, just maybe, into connection. The choice is yours. It always was. It always will be. And at the end of this video, I want to tell you something. Something you may never have heard. Something you might need to hear. You are valuable. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of friendship. And you don't have to be alone. That voice, the dark voice inside you, is lying. You're not enough. You're not interesting. You're not worthy of love. Lies. All lies. The truth is, you are a human being. Flawed, complex, beautiful. And like every human, you need connection. And that need isn't weakness. That need is humanity. So go. Try. Fail. Try again. Because in this life, the only real failure is never trying. And in time, maybe years from now, you'll look back. You'll see this video was a turning point. A beginning. And that lonely, scared person was left behind. Because you changed. Because you dared. Because you were a person without friends. But you're not anymore. Now go. Live. Connect. And remember, you are never, ever alone. Because there are millions watching this video. And they all feel the same. They all fight the same battle. They all carry the same hope. You are part of a community. An invisible but real community. And we are all, together, stepping out of this darkness. See you in the comments. Share. Connect. Start. Because today could be the first day of change. Or just another day that passes the same. The choice is yours. Now, the video is about to end. But your journey is just beginning. Maybe right now, you're in tears. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're hopeful. Maybe you're unsure. Whatever you're feeling, feel it. Allow it. Because those emotions are real. And real emotions are the first step of change. For the first time in years, perhaps, you truly saw yourself. Without a mask. Vulnerable. Bare. And that sight is terrifying. But also liberating. Because now you know. Now you're aware. And awareness is the mother of change. Neurologists have found that the human brain has mirror neurons. These neurons activate when you watch someone else do something. As if you were doing it yourself. So when you watch someone smile, your smile neurons fire. When you watch someone cry, your crying neurons fire. That's why empathy is possible. That's why connection is possible. Because we literally feel each other. on a neurological level. And now, while watching this video, your mirror neurons have activated. Listening to David's story, maybe you saw your own. Remembering those lonely moments, maybe you recalled your own. And that means you are not alone. You never were. Because we are all connected by invisible but powerful threads. Now, a reality check. This video is not a magic pill. It won't save you. It's just a tool. The real work is on you. And the real work is hard. Very hard. Some days you'll think, why am I bothering? Why am I trying? It won't work anyway. And those days are the most critical. Because they show whether you pass the test. Most people give up on those days. See? I told you it wouldn't work for me. And they go back. To old habits. To old loneliness. But you'll do it differently. On those days, you'll remember, this is normal. This is part of the process. Everyone feels this. But I will keep going. And when you keep going, something will happen. A change. Small but real. Maybe someone will smile at you. Maybe someone will want to talk to you. Maybe you'll just feel a little more at ease. And those small changes will, over time, turn into big transformations. Now, one final story. The most powerful one. In the 1960s, there was an astronaut named Jim Lovell. He was on the Apollo 13 mission. In space, on the way to the moon, something exploded. The oxygen tank. Suddenly, those 3 astronauts were facing death. Oxygen was running low. Power was running low. Temperature was dropping. And the return to Earth was uncertain. Mission Control in Houston was in panic. How do we save them? How do we bring them home? And Jim Lovell, in space, inside that cramped, dark capsule, said something to his crew. One sentence that went down in history. Gentlemen, we have a problem. But we're going to solve it. Together. They did. Days of struggle. Creative solutions. Teamwork. Trust. And in the end, that capsule returned to Earth. The 3 people inside, safe and sound. Later, Jim Lovell was asked, what was the most terrifying moment? Lovell replied, the most terrifying moment would have been if I were alone up there. But I wasn't. I had 2 crewmates. And on Earth, hundreds of people were working to save us. I was never alone. That's the lesson, even in the darkest moments, connection saves. Together, the impossible becomes possible. You are in that capsule right now. Oxygen is running low. Power is fading. Loneliness is suffocating you. But there's one difference. You can choose to connect to Mission Control. You can ask for help. You can say together. And if you do, an army is ready. Therapists, support groups, friends, communities. It's all there. Waiting for a signal. Waiting for a help me. But you have to send that signal. No one can read your mind. No one can hear your silent scream. You have to say it out loud, I need help. I need connection. I don't want to be alone anymore. And that sentence is not shameful. That sentence is not weakness. That sentence is the strongest one. Because it admits the truth. That sentence is courage. We've reached the end of this video. A journey. But your journey doesn't end here. Your journey begins here. Now, you'll close this screen. You'll return to your life. And you'll make a choice. You can go back to the old path. Avoidance. Fear. Loneliness. Familiar. Safe. But dead. Or you can open the new path. Action. Courage. Connection. Unknown. Scary. But alive. Which will it be? I can't tell you. I can only show you the door. But walking through it? That's your task. And if you do, know this, you're not alone. Millions are on this path. All struggling. All falling. All getting up. All moving forward. And one day on that path, you'll meet someone else. Tired and scared, but walking. And you'll smile. And they'll smile back. And in that moment, you'll realize. This is it. This is connection. This is friendship. This is humanity. Two strangers. On a path. One smile. Small but infinite. Now go. Write in the comments. Share your story. Speak your fears. Shout your hopes. Because this community is here for you. And one day, maybe you'll help someone else. Maybe your story will change someone's life. Because we are all each other's saviors. And yours? Your story isn't over. The best part is yet to be written. Not goodbye. Because this isn't an ending. This is a see you soon. This is a beginning. Come on, hit the road. The world is waiting. And me? I believe in you. You can do it. You can change. You can find friends. Because you deserve it. You always did. Only now, you see it.